This back to school season, spend less on your kids with Amazon. I remember when my sister begged for the shiniest backpack guaranteed to spark success. Pricey, and it was gone by October. Skip the splurge. Amazon's back to school hub has notebooks, pens, even goal-setting journals at wallet-friendly prices and fast delivery, so you can focus on chasing bigger dreams. So remember, with Amazon's low back to school prices, just spend less on your kids, because every dollar you don't spend on them is a dollar you haven't spent on them.
Yo, this is Ben Roverse World, and you're listening to Dreams and Drive.
Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 433 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. Today, we are throwing it back to an episode from 2019, episode 203 with Ben Hagarty. Ben is such a dope individual. He most notably, as of recent, was one of the main videographers on tour with Miss Beyoncé at her Cowboy Carter tour. If you went to Cowboy Carter, you probably seen Ben on the stage, alongside the stage, capturing content, capturing film for Miss Beyoncé herself. This episode was over 5-6 years ago, so there has been so many more developments in his career journey. So I really encourage you to find him on social media and just read all about him. But I love this episode so much because it really talks about the heart of what dream driving is, which is hustling, figuring it out for yourself, and never taking no for an answer. And Ben is going to detail for our dream drivers and our listeners all about how he was able to build his career as a content creator, a videographer, a filmmaker, really by just putting relationship building first and leveraging those relationships that he really worked on nurturing. So sit back, buckle up, and I really hope that you guys enjoy this episode. I'm going to start it off with the same intro that we had for that one, and we're just right on from there. And today our guest is Ben Hagarty, aka Ben Real Verse World. And I'm so excited for you guys to hear from Ben. He is a director and editor, videographer, and the founder of Black with No Cream, which is an online community for creators of any type who are looking to network, share ideas, and be better versions of themselves. So on this episode, Ben is going to talk about how he went from pounding the pavement as an Iowa-based content creator and musician to relocating to Los Angeles, where his life as a videographer launched. His work includes working with artists such as Chris Brown, Mac Miller, Mary J. Blige, Schoolboy Q, and most recently he toured with Beyoncé on the On the Run 2 tour, and his footage from her Coachella performance and behind the scenes is featured in the Netflix documentary Homecoming, a film by Beyoncé. So there's a lot that we talk about. Ben opens up about what it means to be innovative, things that we have to do as creatives to build relationships, how to make money in the industry. I'm really excited for you guys to hear from him. We get really in-depth in this episode, so if you really want to get a behind-the-scenes look into what a life as a creator really looks like, listen to this in its entirety. As always, make sure you're following us on social. We are Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And please share this as well. Like, if you love this episode, if you feel like somebody will connect with it, please screenshot it, upload it to your Twitter, your Instagram stories, Instagram page, wherever. I count on you guys each week to help us grow the Dreams and Drive community. All right, let's hear from Ben.
Hi, Raina. This is awesome. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I'm so excited to have you on. I actually have to shout out my fellow podcaster, Nikhila Matthews of Side Hustle Pro. So we have like this podcast group, and I want to say like a few months back or maybe a year back, she was like, Raina, like I don't interview men on my show, but there's this guy that you definitely should check out. And she sent me your Instagram handle, and I started following you. And then I just kind of went down the rabbit hole of like joining your group and just being like, yo, he's so dope.
Wow, I appreciate that. Shout out to her. That's cool.
I was listening to one of your previous interviews, and you said that one of the most important things is having an elevator pitch, right? Like being able to start and say like who you are, what you want. So give me like your 30-second elevator pitch. Who is Ben?
And that's, I love that you just turned that on me. the person that preaches it the most, that wasn't prepared at all. I think to be honest, to me, I want to be a person that leaves a mark on the world in a way that kind of tells a story. So if I can leave a timestamp at any point during my life that's monumental and can tell a story, that's the goal, whether it be a documentary, whether it's taking a photo, whatever it can be. I want to tell the story of that current moment at that time. So however I can do that the best way, that's me.
So would you say your one word is like a storyteller?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Absolutely.
I like to call myself a storyteller too, because I feel like when I was a kid, I was just fascinated with reading. I used to be like the girl who would go to the library and get like 20 books. And my mom literally had to be like, Raina, you can't read and walk. So going back to childhood though, like what was inspiring you as a kid? Like what was that thing that, you know, if your mom said, Ben was always doing this or Ben was always doing that, what was that?
I think I was always being like in some form, whether it was through sports or just in general, like fucking around with my friends. It was always something creative. Like I was always interested in being active or finding ways, you know, even from Legos, you know, I was like building out little worlds with my Legos or just taking like a Lego ship and tying it to a rope and having it like fly through the air, quote unquote. Like I just had this weird vision for, I don't know, just things that were creative. It was cool, but I don't know what my mom would say. I was probably just being a weirdo. You know what I mean? Just experimenting with stuff. But I mean, me and my friends were always picking up cameras and playing with the cameras that were at our, like my parents would have a old ass video camera, or his parents did too. So like, I remember we were filming movies all the time. We thought we were making movies. We never did anything with them. And honestly, we were doing all the editing in camera. So we'd like shoot this shot and then we knew the next shot would be this. And then we just watch it back and then I don't know, that was just kind of it. And especially with sports too, like I loved, especially when like it made sense to like film your sports, like watching my stuff over and over again, which I guess kind of goes into like, you know, football teams are sitting there reviewing tapes over and over again to learn what the other team does or how they do their moves or how this person runs. It's like I would do that for myself, whether it was like skateboarding or snowboarding, trying to figure out how come I'm not getting it right? Like, why can I not land that trick? And you watch it enough times and all of a sudden you're getting the trick right. You know, I don't know. It was just like an obsession of mine.
One of my obsessions when I was younger, and it's funny because I just had like my first Dreams and Drive event a few weeks ago, and one of my friends was doing like you know how people give little testimonials, and so she was like, Raina was always like the historian, the archivist. Like I legit, I don't know how in first grade I got my hands on Polaroids. Like I legit, like if any of my friends who I know since childhood, they're like, Raina, I need a second grade picture. I can go to my album and be like, all right, what month do you need it from? Wow. I was always that, like the girl with like the little disposable cameras.
Yeah.
Or my mom bought me this little pink see-through one that I used to be so obsessed with and, you know, save my money to get the film developed and all of that. But you know what's interesting? Being that like, you know, you're now this, I want to say in my head, like really accomplished videographer, you living in LA, but you're from Iowa, right? Like, and I only say that. So I'm from New Jersey, like the New York City area. But how do you think growing up in Iowa influenced you as a creative or like, you know, help fuel your early dreams early on?
I think the number one thing that Iowans have, and I would say Midwestern people as a whole, is just work ethic. The work ethic is like second to none. And every day I grew up watching my mom and my dad get up, take care of us, drop us off at school, make sure we got all the things we needed, went to work, clocked in. My dad was a cop. My mom was a nurse. You know what I mean? They're working full time, nonstop. My dad started a second business. It was just like, they were just hustling. You see it all the time. And then all your friends, their parents do the same thing. You know what I mean? It was like everyone had to survive. So they would work their ass off to do it and to provide for their families and stuff. So even at every job you have, it's like, you know, if you slack off, you get fired. There's reasons why that happens. And you're just kind of taught to go ham. So, and I think also I played a lot of soccer, baseball when I was really young, and those were my sports, you know, on top of like extreme sports is where it kind of led to later. But soccer and baseball, like Marty Metcalf, that was my coach. His son was like my age or whatever. He coached our baseball team. And I just remember he was scary and he like really pushed us to like be on point. Like if you wore your hat backwards, it was a mistake. You know what I mean? Like he really like delivered it. Like you wanted to wear your pants rolled up so your socks were showing. Like you had to really pay the dues to baseball, and there was no slacking off. And if you did, you ran laps. And if you ran laps, he was mad and you were terrified. So it's like you had to pay, like there was reasons why you had to go hard, but by doing that, you were a better performer. I think it's just things like that. Like you're always just getting pushed to the next level and have to work hard and be a good person. And I think that transcends really well when it comes into this world, especially in LA, where piece of shit. And
Really?
you know what I mean? I think like everyone's got a motive, and a lot of people aren't honest. And I've ran into too many of those people out here. And so I think the thing that sticks out to me, like about me, I guess, to people is that I'm just a real person with nothing to lose, and I'm genuine, and I care about people, and I care about art, and I care about like providing. That's it. Like, what more could you ask for? Is someone that's going to show up on time, work their ass off, and get the job done no matter what it takes. Like, that's what you want. And so that's just always been innate in me, I guess.
What was the dream then, like growing up?
What was the dream? I used to want to be a train driver when I grew up.
That, you know, it's funny. I used to want to be a cashier, and my mom used to get so mad. She's like, "Don't tell people that," because I just like the sound. You know how like the little Barbie cash registers.
You get the toys.
Yes.
Yeah, my sister had one.
I'm like, Mom, I want to be a cashier when I grow up, and she was like, "Girl, don't say that to anybody." In a Jamaican accent, though.
Right? Yeah, that's hilarious. I don't know. I think it was. I don't think I ever understood that I would grow up. You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's weird because I remember like making music later, like this skips forward, but like in college and high school, it was like you're making music and I was touring in like little punk bands, and it was like hip hop shit. And like it was a range of music that we were like involved in. I was like very heavy in the music scene within the Midwest. And I remember in college, like we were transitioning and my friends all were going to college that I was in a band with. And I knew that the only times that we'd have available to tour were like the spring breaks, the summer breaks, Christmas breaks, whatever it was, you know, the holiday breaks. And so I was like, well, shit, I might as well go to school with them too. My parents want me to go anyway, so I kind of have to. So I was just trying to pass time while they were in school. You know what I mean? I don't know. I didn't understand why they were going to school. Like, we're going to be in bands forever. This is always going to work. We're always going to make music. Like, to me, that was it. Like, it's just as long as we're making music, our life is good. Like, that's what we need to be doing. We need to be creating and constantly creating. But I never understood of it as like, oh, we need to start getting paid for shows. The show money needs to be divvied out into 5. And we also need to be paying for, you know, all the business expenses, all the shit. But we weren't paying. Like, that didn't make sense to me back then. So I don't know if I ever understood that I would have like a goal to like do a job. I just have always said I wanted to build a platform for myself so I could have a voice. That was it. So I guess early on I didn't know what it was, but more so like the last 5 years, it was like, man, if I can get a platform, I can have a voice. And I didn't know what that even meant until now. Honestly, it's like to have Black with No Cream, to build a place for fellow creators to like have a home to go to rely on, to feel comfortable in. Like, that kind of is my thing. Like, that's what my goal is now. It's like to make that even better. Like, how can I help little me's in Iowa like succeed faster, succeed better, become better? I want to make like elite creators, you know?
There are creators all over the world. There are people with dreams all over the world. And that's why I love doing this podcast, because you're realizing that although we all are in different places, we still have like similar origin stories. You probably get it from people on your podcast, like people who have kind of like the similar type of hustle that you did when you were younger, right?
Yes, nonstop. It's insane. Like, you hear, there's always so many parallels. And I know it's common, like, especially when you're like, your podcast may lean into like one specific subject. It's like you start to hear like the commonalities, but it's like, it's so crazy. Like, when I start talking to a guest on the podcast and I'm like, hey, so I'll ask one question. If they answer that, I understand their entire childhood. I'm like, oh yeah, we had the exact same childhood. We did this I know for a fact the next 4 years, I could predict what the next 4 years for you was, because you have to do that to get to this part. You know what I mean? And it's cool. It's so cool to see, like, in Black with No Cream, it's like we have this insane network of creators. Like, we're almost at 5,100 members right now. So that's really dope. But it's like 5,100 people spread out all over the world. And to me, it was even more nuts. Like, a lot of them will go on and do their own thing, like set up like a Black with No Cream meetup on their own that has nothing to do. It's not actually affiliated. It's just like Black with No Cream members meeting up with each other. And they've been doing that. Yeah. And that's cool to see. But then when I was on tour, they're asking me to do like meetups on the road, which were near impossible. Like, I couldn't ever commit to them because I'm like, dude, I have no idea if that day off is really a day off, you know? But it was nuts being in like places like Amsterdam and being able to meet up with like, you know, there's like 4 or 5 creators that linked up that day. And I'm like, holy shit, like 4 or 5 of these people like got together because of this thing I started. Just because they knew about me, which is nuts that I'm in Amsterdam and they know about me. I've never been to Amsterdam. And then it's like, you see them connect, and 2 of them are from Amsterdam that didn't know each other. And then immediately now, because we all link together in real life, they now are a part of something that they were already a part of together, but now they know each other in real life. And now they're connecting on a different level where they're like, yo, I could use you for this job and I'm going to hire you for this. And I'll hire you for that. And like, all of a sudden they're getting work together. And like that right there, I was like, that's powerful to me. Like,
this back to school season, spend less on your kids with Amazon. Dream drivers, let's talk smart money moves. One year, my cousin insisted on a designer binder that cost more than my LLC filing fee, then left it on the bus. Had I checked Amazon first, I'd have scored the same vibe for less, plus everything else in one cart. Their back-to-school storefront lets you filter by grade, color, or budget, reviews steer you clear of duds, and fast shipping gets it to you before your next brainstorming session. Save cash, save time, fuel the hustle. So remember, with Amazon's low back-to-school prices, just spend less on your kids, because every dollar you don't spend on them is a dollar you haven't spent on them. What's up, dream drivers? Life's all about making bold moves and investing in your dreams, right? Whether you're taking on a new chapter, like welcoming a growing family, relocating to a fresh city, or stepping up to your next big adventure, you need a ride that's ready to go the distance with you. The Toyota Grand Highlander is designed with more space for people who are ready to tackle the grand challenges ahead. With advanced safety features, convenient tech, and a sophisticated look that reflects your style, it's more than just a car, it's the SUV that makes every journey fun and easy. With comfortable seating for up to 8, an available hands-free power liftgate, and your choice between gas or hybrid engine options, like the 362 horsepower Hybrid Max, this SUV is built for those who aren't afraid to go after their dreams, and it's got room to spare. The Grand Highlander is more than a spacious vehicle. It's your partner in embracing all life throws at you. From daily routines to unexpected adventures, it's up for every grand challenge. Learn more at toyota.com/Grand Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
and even going to South Africa and shit. Someone wanted to do a meetup in South Africa. I'm like, I have fans in South Africa? What the fuck?
Isn't it crazy? Like when I go to my podcast, like, you know how I use Libsyn as my podcast host, so just going to see where people are listening. I'm like,
Weird,
what?
right?
Like Zimbabwe? Like, you know, it's so crazy.
It's a trip.
But one of the things that I'm learning on this journey is that when you really commit to letting your passion guide you, although it's scary, like I know you went to college and you didn't really enjoy it, but like, you know, you don't really know how the risk will pay off or how like going through things will pay off. But now, like looking back, it's like, wow, like I'm happy I like went through that because it led me to where I am here, you know?
Absolutely. No, I agree 100%.
So, you know, and just doing your research, I feel like you legit need like a 5-hour podcast to tell your whole story.
Man,
and there's so many interesting things, like, you know, you were into sports and then you had the band and you guys were on tour. Take us through like what was the journey like for you discovering Ben's power as a creator? Because I feel like you were a different type of creative at different points along your journey, right?
That's an easy way to say it. I feel like it, like I said, it started with music, and music was like my obsession. I was obsessed with snowboarding and skateboarding. Like we do that shit 12, 15 hours a day by nature. You want to film yourself. Snowboarding, yeah. You can snowboard in Iowa.
No, I'm just saying you would do that for 12 to 15. Like that is commitment.
Oh yeah, like I would. Okay, so in Iowa it's flat as fuck. It's cornfields, right? So snowboarding is actually really difficult to do there. But when I became a fan of it and then started doing it, the only place I could snowboard was the closest place to me was this little resort called Sundown, which was like maybe a 300-foot vertical hill that you could go down in like 30 seconds, pretty much. But they'd have. When I went with my dad and I rode and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Then I see the terrain park, which is like rails, and they had jumps and they had like a half pipe. And I was like, holy fuck, I want to go over there. And like, eventually I go over there, but I can't do any of that stuff. But I started to learn. I started doing that for years, and I would go. Me and my friends would go when we were young. Our parents would take us there and like drop us off, and we'd go snowboard for the day. And it was like the coolest thing on earth. And then when we got 16, I got my car. I would like drive my grandma's. I had this old like beat up Corsica. I don't remember what year it is, but my grandma had it for like 30 years. This thing was old as shit. She had like 20,000 miles on it. I would drive this Corsica to Sundown, and I would snowboard. And eventually I started going by myself because my friends weren't going to go that often. And so I would drive up there on like a Thursday night sometimes if I'd skip class Friday, and I would just like snowboard all day Friday, sleep in my car at our grocery store, like a local grocery store that was near the resort. I literally sleep in my car to then get up the next day and go ride again and do that every weekend until like eventually I made friends on the hill and they'd be like, hey, yo, you can crash on my couch. You don't gotta sleep out in your car. But just, I don't know. I was like, I would get obsessed. And when I'm obsessed, I want to be great. And when I want to be great, it's like we would start shooting ourselves. So we'd start filming. I'd film my friends who were really good, and then they'd film me, and we just trade off getting the shots. And you want to show off the trick that you're doing, and then I would go back and make little edits. And I was just
How old were you at this point?
It's like 16 to 19, probably. Like, I mean, by the time we could go do it by ourselves, we were 16, obviously, so we could drive because that was like the legal limit. But we were snowboarding earlier than that. It was just by the time we had the freedom of being by ourselves and like getting to go by ourselves, like I would start traveling to snowboard. And then but every other day I'm playing music with my bands, and I'm going to shows and I'm booking shows. I would put on shows. There'd be like touring artists that were coming through that would be like, punk bands. It was like, we'd have shows in our town. Like our town was just like iconic in the punk scene because we'd just throw these ill shows back in the day. And so I was a promoter. I was booking shows. I was making flyers. I'm promoting shows. I'm telling people about these shows. Like, you got to come through. This band's awesome. Our band's playing. We'd start playing the shows. Like, I don't understand how to explain it except for like the obsession was so real where, we would try to get as much money as we could and give it to these little touring bands that were coming through that we'd book through MySpace. But then when it turned into our turn to go on tour, I'm hitting these same people back up like, hey, we're coming to Kentucky. Like, is there any way you could put us up for one night? And like, we'll sleep on the floor. It doesn't matter. Like, we just want to play a show. If you have a basement, if you have like a AmVet center or whatever, like we'll play there. And you'd go and you'd play to like 30 people that don't know who you are, and you know
now
what I mean?
Did after, right? They do after hearing you, right?
Yeah, after a while it starts picking up. So like that was our life. Like we bought a 15-passenger van. We decked it out with like a little weird ass cot thing in the back so you could put the gear underneath but sleep on top, and like crashed it into a deer and almost died. Like, I don't know. It definitely could be a 5-hour long podcast because like
the obsession fueled evolution, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's I don't know, man. It was like I feel like all of it plays though. It plays like a massive, massive part in what I'm doing. I think that's a huge problem right now that I'm trying to fix in this era of newborn content creators, I guess. Mm-hmm. Not newborn, born content creators. Is so many kids are coming up right now seeing these ill-ass travel videographers, photographers that are going to Bali and doing dope wild shit and backflipping and flying on four-wheelers, and they're capturing the most cinematic content and all this stuff. And that's what everyone wants to be. Now they want to be YouTubers. Now they want to be Instagrammers. Now they want to be influencers. But for me, we go back to being a storyteller, it's like you have to have stories. Like, you need to live your life to be able to have stories so you can relate and tell stories. Like, I may be shooting a video for Beyoncé, and I don't know, I didn't live her life, but I could find ways to tie in my life into her life and then try to tell a story so it makes sense. So at least it feels like it's coming from an honest place. And a lot of it, storytelling wise, that takes a lot of experience, but also filming and shooting and editing. Like, I've been doing this shit for so long, mm-hmm. Like professionally, quote unquote, for like the last, if you want to call it that, like 3-4 years, whatever, technically, just because that's where I lived in LA and that's when I first started working with famous people. But I mean, I've been doing it for so long, and I think a lot of people skip that understanding that sometimes you have to practice some shit for a lot of time. Like, and if you want to get good in a lot of different areas, it's like 10,000 hours. You hear that whole work 10,000 hours, become great at something. It's like, well, if you want to be great at communication, you need to do it 10,000 hours. If you want to be great at filming, you want to do it for 10,000 hours. You want to be a great editor, 10,000 hours. It's not just 10,000 hours in total and you're a fucking content creator, No,
and you have to have the experience. And I think a lot of people aren't willing to be, like, I listened to this Angie Martinez interview a while back, and she was like, you have to be willing to suck in the beginning. Like, you have to be willing to, I wouldn't say fail, but not be the best yet. And I think a lot of people,
for sure.
A lot of people are trying to, jump out the gate with like cinematic YouTube videos. I'm like, listen, you need to just understand if YouTube is even your platform, right? Because sometimes you'll put stuff up and realize that's not really where you should be investing your time. So I love that you said that. Let's talk about your first big break. Who do you say, if you had to think about, like, if you're thinking about life as a domino effect, right? What do you think which was the domino? Who was the domino that kind of led you down where you are now? Like where you realized that you could start a life and get to LA?
To get to LA, my goal, I knew I needed to be there. And at the time when I moved to LA, I was still doing music. Mm-hmm. I honestly did music all the way up until like 2 weeks before I moved to LA. I moved to LA. And my goal when I moved was like, if I can get to LA and do music or video photos, because I was also doing that shit back in Iowa. Like eventually I was making our videos and music for like our groups, like our artists, or my hip hop group and shit. Like I would be making the videos for our music. So we're making music plus I'm making the videos. So people started knowing me for that stuff. And when I moved, I'm like, I could either do photo, video, music, whatever it is. Initially, that was always the goal was just to build a platform. I'm like, if I could just have something, like if I could just be as big as blah, 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 I could do something great. And when I moved to LA, it happened to be video. Like I just happened to get into video photo versus music. My friend was working on a Chris Brown documentary, and he's the director of the film, and he just invited me to come through and check it out. Next thing you know, I'm like assisting him by default, like by just showing up every day. And long story short, I ended up becoming like the co-editor of the entire movie.
Wow.
Which was crazy. But to get there, to leave Iowa, I knew I had it in me because we started affiliating ourselves with things that were bigger than what I had in Iowa, right? Like when we were making music and playing music, I was opening up for every artist like that was coming through the Midwest. Basically, we'd open for them. I've opened up for J. Cole. I've opened up for Machine Gun Kelly.
Wait, what was your band's name?
It was called Schooled. So the whole idea was that everyone gets schooled in life. So we call ourselves Schooled Life. And it was just me and another dude. We'd rap. We had a DJ. We had a full band. I was fucking rapping my ass off. We play every show.
That's so crazy. I mean, in a good way, right? Like that.
It is hilarious, but it's funny now looking back on it because we were doing some dope shit. We were mad ahead of the curve. We just didn't get the home run that we needed at the time, but it was close, and it became hard to like commit to the idea of leaving, right? For all of us, me and my creative homies, like I have a massive squad of friends that are back home that we just made shit all the time. We were either in the studio in my friends' basements or whatever. Like we would do whatever it took to like make music and be creative. And I just was like, yo, we got to leave. We got to leave here. We can't be in Iowa anymore. I just know we got to be in LA. Like we got to go to LA. It's just, that's where it's going to make the most sense for us. And it was hard for everyone to be able to commit to that. Like money wise, like my other homie had his dad passed away and he was in Africa, and it was like a really tough time. Like he had to provide for his family, all this stuff where no one could really afford to leave. But I knew it had to happen. Like we had waited so long, and I waited to go with so many people. I'm like, I gotta go. And if I can go, I can build a platform. Whoever else keeps working, like I can put people on. Who knows what the possibilities are. And since then, it's been cool. I've been able to place my friends' music, get it on like EA Sports videos and things like that, like which has been amazing. But I just knew I needed to go. So I started building up like a budget and working hard in Iowa to get money so I could leave and take the risk of doing it. And I don't know. I think when I got to LA, it was just like, hey, can you come work on this Chris Brown film? And all of a sudden I'm in there every day. And then everyone starts seeing my other stuff and like, oh, you're great with drones. You're good at this. Like, this is cool. And a little check would come here and I'm like, holy shit, I got paid for that. And then, hey, can you do this? Oh, crazy. I did that job for this person, but I didn't get paid for it, but I'm still around Chris Brown. And who knows what happens if I become friends with Chris Brown? Maybe he'll be on my music one day, or, you know what I mean? Like,
so you were still kind of like deep down in your heart, you still had that music was still the number one passion?
It's always been even to me. Like, okay. I just am obsessed with, like, you know, I'm making music, but I'm obsessed with watching videos. Like it was all about the videos. It was all about the music compiling with the videos. And then I think what I realized was my experience in music my whole life really laid into how I create my content for artists and helps me relate to artists. Like
I was just about to say that, because I feel like as a musician, you have to understand the creative process. So when you're working and when you're filming another artist, you can kind of connect with them knowing that, like, you get what I'm saying here,
no,
right?
I like, an example is I was editing my homie Andrew. Shout out to Andrew, but Andrew's not a musician. And when we be editing with Chris Brown, Chris comes in and likes to edit his music videos. He knows exactly what he sees. Like if he's
really, so he's that like he's really that
hands
involved.
On, so hands on. This dude's mad. It's so crazy. His creativity is so crazy. But he'll be in the edit. Yeah, so we'll shoot a whole video and then turn around. We'll be in the edit bay with him for 9 hours straight and just sitting down. And when I first sat in, like obviously I wasn't editing it with him. He eventually started editing his music videos, but I was watching my homie Andrew sitting there with Chris, and Chris would be sitting there like, no, you need to cut it on this downbeat or blah, 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 blah. He'd say something like hit the hook or whatever. Like he just made like random music related comments. And then I see Andrew kind of scrubbing through the timeline, which is like 3.5 minutes of music. And he's trying to find that part that he's talking about. And I didn't know my place. I was brand new. So I'm sitting there like, I knew exactly where to go. And I'm watching Andrew struggle to find it. And Chris is looking at him like, come on, man, find the thing. Like, you should know what I'm talking about. Like, cause this is English to me. Like you should be able to speak English like me. And I'm like, no, and not everyone speaks music. You know what I mean? So then when I started working with Chris, it would be really easy to understand what his needs were, what he wanted to, and relay it, or then do something that would impress him because it was music oriented, or, you know what I mean? So it just made it easier to do a lot and be able to speak the language of an artist. And honestly, when I started working with like Schoolboy Q and like Chris, Mary J. Blige, like I'm sitting there thinking like, how would, if I was performing right now, what kind of content would I want for the gram? Or what could, you know what I mean? Or how could I make a video that would be powerful with this, within the situation? Like I would try to think like them, like what would they want? What would impress me if I was an artist, someone was shooting for me, you know? And being that I've done it, or being that I know what it feels like to, you know, crowd surf or something like that, those are pinnacle moments. So you like want to find ways to capture those in the most creative way. So it was like, I got really good at that shit. So it just became easy to talk to artists. And I don't know, I've just been in it for so long. It's just been easy to live in the world where I can just show up and, you know what I mean? Like, just, it's easy, you know?
You know what's crazy? Because I'm thinking of, like, as you were talking, I'm just thinking of, like, the word that came to mind was motion, right? Like, you were a snowboarder. You know how to move. Music is all about, like, motion, wavelengths, like, you know, all that stuff. And then videography too is, like, sight is motion, right? It's like your eyes are moving around. So that's all connected. And it's interesting how you were able to find a place in order to make that all connect, right? Because let's say you were snowboarding only, you wouldn't have been able to put the other parts in that too. So it's so interesting. I want to talk to you about Schoolboy Q, because I feel like that also was another pivotal point along your journey. Real quick though, out of everything you experienced with Schoolboy Q, going on tour with him, making all the dope content, the series for him, which we'll link in the show notes, what do you think was like the biggest lesson you learned coming off of that tour? Like what about what it meant for your future? Like how did Schoolboy Q affect how you saw your career evolving past then?
I mean, the best part was the ability for me to be fully creative, and Q just allowed me to do what I do. He, you know, a lot of times you come in and work for a brand of artists, whatever it is, and they'll have all their people, and their people have opinions, and everyone's trying to like put constraints on what you do. And Q, the beauty of it was that the way I got connected with Q was through my homie Musa. Musa is Top's son. Top is the owner of Top Dog Entertainment. So Musa found me at South by Southwest years before and told me like he wanted me to work with their artists. And it never happened. And long story short, it did come to life. And then I went on tour with Q. But what was cool was like they didn't have the money, right? They didn't really have the money to spend on it, or didn't see the value in what I would do on this tour, because they had never had someone like me. Musa knew that. Musa's like, yo, trust me, I know this rate is trash, blah, 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 but like they don't know what you'll do. Like they just don't understand. I could write it down on paper. I could show them examples. They're not going to understand how that transcends in their artists. And so what was cool was that I had to take the L on getting the check. But for me, I knew it was much bigger than that, because if I could have the freedom to create with an artist that I've looked up to forever, and on top of it, just have that platform, I'm like, who knows what that's going to do for me? I didn't know it was going to turn into me getting fans, which is a weird thing to think of. But like now all of a sudden TDE fucks, you know, all those fans that are TDE fuck with me forever. Like I'll show up to any TDE event and I got people that are like, yo man, oh shit, that's fans, which is crazy. Or go to like Coachella last year, I'm with Beyoncé, but like SZA was performing. So I got the whole photo pass so I can walk through the pit, and I'm just going to go take a quick photo real quick just to get one. And she's performing and I'm walking and these fans are sitting there in the barricade up front and they're just like, yo, Ben, what's up? You
so the
like,
fans knew you, like that's
the
so
fans
crazy.
learned me. Like that's what I didn't expect. And that's what kind of the beauty of it all is that he let me be creatively free because he didn't really care. He didn't really know what he wanted. So it was just like, yo, just like get funny. Like the only note I got when I started that tour was like, film the homies because they're funny. And just that's the only note. And I'm like, okay, so who are the homies? Like I had to learn who everyone was real quick.
Were
and
you
figure
intimidated
out.
by that?
Before coming into it, I was like, all right, cool. I worked with Chris. Chris is like, whatever. He's always blood this and all that. But like, it was always on set. Like everything was always safe. I'm like thinking, damn, I've been listening to Q's music forever. He's a real gangbanging Crip. Like this shit's gonna get wild. Like what's tour like? Am I gonna be safe? All this shit, And then I'm thinking like, should I bring this red shirt that I have? Is that gonna be offensive? Like I didn't know. But then I get on the tour and I realize everyone's so dope. Like everybody is so fucking tight on that tour. Our bus was the shit. Like all those dudes were fucking brothers. It was like the best tour. But it was intimidating coming in, not knowing anybody and having to try to prove myself right away. Because until I prove myself, I'm just a fucking kid with a camera that no one knows why I'm there. They don't know that I just did 2 years working on this Chris Brown documentary and Mary J. Blige. Actually I didn't have Mary J. Blige at that time yet. But
you had some stain. They didn't know about it though, right?
Yeah, totally. So I had to show them why I was tight. But I remember they were like hitting me. The management was hitting me like, hey, we need the first video. Like when can we see the first video? And I was making like what they are now today, like these episodic pieces throughout the whole tour. But when they're asking me this, the tour literally started with me flying to Detroit. We had one show in Detroit. We drove up to Canada, played one show in Canada, flew to New York, stayed in New York for like 6 days or something. Like we had 6 days off. It was like some random amount of time. And then we played one show in Philly. So I had 2 shows and then everyone was just in a hotel and I didn't really know if I was supposed to am I going to go kick it with them or what? And they were asking me for all these edits. I'm like, I have no content. I don't even know who the people are. They're like, hey, did you get a video of Smack? I'm like, Smack? Who's Smack? Which one's that? I don't know who I'm filming. I'm just filming shit. And then, so I had to make something funny and start building character development immediately. So I was just living on my computer trying to figure it out. But when I made the first episode and I walked in, I showed Q, I was like, hey, this is what I made. I don't know if you're going to like it or whatever, but we'll just see if this is what you're thinking. I played it. He's like, oh, that's hilarious. All right, I'm cool with it. And I was like, all right, so you want me to change anything or nah? I'm like, okay. So I sent to him hey, Q approved this. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they just post on YouTube and all of a sudden it's get 200,000 views right away and all these comments and people holy shit, the editing is so crazy. Who's shooting this? All these comments. I'm like, oh, fuck. And then you start building character development and I start telling stories and I try to find ways to become a character. My camera was a character, which was cool that I could play jokes too, because that's the whole thing with them is that they just crack jokes on the homies. You have to be ready to battle basically. And so my camera became a tool for me so I could play a prank on someone, make someone look stupid or do, you know what I mean? That was part of the comedy of it. And, through that, it's so many people fucking watch that shit, even though the views weren't that big because they weren't marketing it because they didn't know how to do that at the time. Mm-hmm. The people that did see it, it was nuts. He was like, oh, A$AP Rocky just texted me talking about you or whatever. This person was talking about you. Macklemore's he walked into the room one day when we were in Seattle and he's like, bro, you've been killing these videos. He's asked me to go on 3 tours. That's nuts. And I'm just like, all right, that's it. But when you get out, the fans that I built, which was crazy. The more and more shows we got into the tour, the more and more times people are noticing me out and about or whatever in those cities that we're going to. And I'm like, this is so weird. How do they know me? You know what I mean? But then you start getting the DMs and the DMs aren't just, yo, tell Q I love him and I want to smoke weed with them and I got blunts and blah, blah, blah. It became yo, what camera do you use? Yo, how did you get on this tour?
So you were realizing your value. Wait, people can, you're seeing the influence you had within your own sphere.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was just I can't explain to you how many messages. And at that time, I mean, I had 12,000 followers or something like that on Instagram. It was to me, I was like, oh shit, I got 12,000 followers. And then all of a sudden they're just blowing me up. These people might not even follow me, but they're still messaging me and the amount of DMs, but I would just answer them all. I felt responsible. I'm like, yo, I asked those same questions. I was asking those same questions in Iowa to people that I looked up to and they never responded to me. Like there's so many people that just never responded, and I felt obligated to do it because I'm like, man, I am in a cool position. I do feel very lucky, and like I do have some answers. Like let me try to provide them to you. And then it got out of hand to the point where I'm like, my responses were just quick responses, and I would love to like dive deeper into it, but I can't really because it's a fucking message, and I'm also I'm an entrepreneur and I'm working my ass off, and you guys just think I'm just sitting at home waiting to respond to your shit, but that's what started Black with No Cream.
That's interesting that you said that, because I want to take some time to talk about like the actual side of being an entrepreneur and the business behind the creative, because I feel like that's something that some creators, you either can sink or swim in this part of the business. So like, what were you learning about the business side, and how do you, I guess you want to make a living, right? Like you're not just doing this stuff because you're passionate about it, but at the same time, you need to live. What are some concrete things you could tell our listeners about, like, if you're creative, make sure you have this stuff in line?
I mean, I struggled with it because I didn't know what I was doing. Everything was always so random. I learn as I go. And I think that, you know, having a business, it's like you want to be on top of your shit, and you can use that as leverage to try to get more money. Like, I think that that's what's always interesting, is the conversation of like, hey, this artist asked me to go on tour with them. How much should I charge? It's not how much should you charge. It's how much are you worth, and how much do you need to survive? And also, what is the opportunity in general? Like, what does that mean to you? For me, I was making so much bread. Like before I went on Q's tour, it finally started happening. Like I was broke as shit, living on a fucking air mattress for 15, 16 months. And that was consistent, like making no money, nothing ever happened. Then all of a sudden I direct this big EA sports campaign for Madden, and I finally get my first real check, and I got a studio apartment. I moved off the couch to a studio apartment that was furnished. Still, the shit wasn't mine. I finally got it. And then that became consistent, where all of a sudden I'm doing all these jobs and I'm starting to make really good money every week. And I'm like, oh shit, like I'm making like this much money every week. And then they hit me with this tour, which I've been wanting to do. That's the reason, one of the main reasons I moved out to LA was to do this tour, but it didn't come for like almost 2 years after I moved out.
What?
And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, do I do this now and take the L on the check? Because it was like, to me, I understood the opportunity, and all I needed was one, to be able to showcase what I'm valuable or what I'm capable of doing. That's it. That's my value. Just give me one, let me stunt, and then I can use that to gain whatever I want in the future. To me, it was worth it to take an L on I needed to make enough money to like at least make rent and all this shit, whatever I have bills to pay. So I needed at least that, a little bit on top, but it wasn't much. Like I wasn't making that much money. Like
but you were surviving.
I was surviving enough, but it wasn't like I was walking away like I'm rich, I work with rich rappers, blah, blah, blah. That wasn't my reality. But to me, the reality was I was rich in the connections that I built and the way that I was able to transition that tour to work for me. And this goes back to like, even when I was making music, I remember thinking, I'd have these conversations all the time where I'd be like, damn, if we got big enough to get a tour bus, we shouldn't do it. We should still fucking thug it out in the van, because that's an extra like $3,000 a day that we could be saving towards our money. Like, why would we spend it on a tour bus just to be bougie and have a bunk? Now I know why I would like it, because we get old and that fucking shit sitting in the van.
It's not cool.
No, tour buses are dope. But I've always thought like, okay, if we open, like when we open up for J. Cole played my university. It was like this 7,000 person venue. It did not do that well. It was like actually promoted very terribly. But I remember being like, how do we convert every J. Cole fan into a Schoolboy fan? Like, how do we make them love us? Like, let's have a band. Let's try to make like exciting things happen. Let's try to hand out like LED sticks or random shit that could, make some mark on what our performance was. But on top of it, we're like, let's stand by the doors when people leave or when they're waiting outside in line. Let's walk around, and we bought these like stamps that had our Twitter handle and Instagram, like at School Life. And so we'd walk around, we'd be like, yo, let's see your hand. And we'd pop, and we'd stamp, and we were like, hey, you need to have a stamp to get into the show. Yeah, you need to have a stamp to get in the show. Boom, we'd stamp them, boom. And so then we're like getting everyone to see that shit. And the idea is just like, cool, what if we got like 100 new fans that are from our own town that don't know about us? But then the next show that we do, that's our show, and we promote it on our socials, they'll see it. They're going to come to those shows. Like, I've always thought like that. So you have to find ways to make those situations work well for you and then make money in the long run. On the J. Cole show, we had to pay to play that show. That was like the first time and only time we ever had to pay to play a show. The other time.
What? So you had to pay J. Cole's team to be part of their tour?
The promoter hit us up and I've always wanted to work with them because they'd book all the ill shows. They were booking Wiz Khalifa when Wiz Khalifa was the shit. They booked everybody in the cities over next. And then they got this job and they're like, hey, we want you to be the opener. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. And they're like, yeah, but you got to pay us to play. And I'm like, well, couldn't we just sell tickets? Like, we would actually sell and make you more money than us paying. I don't remember what it was. Like pay like $300 to play or some dumb shit. I'm like, give us those $30 tickets and I guarantee you I'll sell 1,000 tomorrow. Like I'll have 1,000 J. Cole tickets sold. And our street skills were crazy and they didn't want to do it. And so what we did was, all right, fuck, we got to pay this dude $300, $500, whatever it was. But then we booked an after party show at a bar that we go to every night. And they had us just literally stand up on the bar and play. And they paid us like $600. So we made $100 that night. But to us, I was like, cool, that's how we'll make the money back. But this opportunity to play at J. Cole is going to be great. Let's try to get new fans, et cetera. It's like, how do we capitalize on these moments? And that's the same. I think about that in every situation. I think everyone needs to think like that. Like, how do you parlay? And we talk about this in the Black with No Cream, the Morning Roast series. We talk about like how to turn one job into three. If you do this one thing and it costs you an investment, if you had to spend $100 on gas to get to this place to shoot this thing, or if you had to fly to LA to get into the situation to become friends with Andrew and have him invite you to come sit down on a Chris Brown music video, is that $300-$400 flight or whatever it may be, the investment, worth it to build the relationship that could eventually turn into high paying jobs? Mm-hmm. Is that worth it? And so was Q's tour worth it? Hell yeah, it was worth it to me. It was hard because I had my girl just move out to LA. We literally just moved out to LA and then she had to go back to Iowa and wait for 4 months while I'm on tour. It was like a really shitty timing, but like it was worth it in the sense of I'm going to build a platform here. I'm going to connect with more artists. People will see my creative vision from me and allow me to have more control when it comes to like directing content. You know what I mean? That was me directing like a series and it worked. It fucking worked. It built Black with No Cream, like hands down. There was 1,000 people I led into the group at first and they were all people that saw my Q shit. I did a fucking feature documentary that was premiered all over the world in theaters. Like I went to the movie theaters in LA and watched my movie play there. It played in the movie theater in my hometown. And I built a little bit of a fan base, whatever, like something so major. But then I go and work with an artist that has social ability and all of a sudden I have these new fans that are finding me very quickly. And I'm like, damn, I got to put them in a space because they're asking all the right questions, but sometimes they're asking the exact same questions. I'm like, what if one person asked this question and another guru could answer it? Cool, let's try that. So that's how the Facebook group started, which is crazy to think about.
It's like being the king of leverage, right? Like, how do I leverage this opportunity to do something else, to do something else, to do something else? That's something I tell people all the time. Like, you have to be strategic. Like, you're passionate about it, but at the same time, you were very strategic with how you were able to leverage the opportunity. Talking about that, though, I think a lot of us who are creators, like, we're always trying to figure out, like, how do we actually grow our brands? How do we leverage what we do have into something bigger? Can you give me an example of a time you were able to leverage, like, a piece of content and how you were able to like use that to grow your fan base? So
two quick examples, I mean, just off top, but like there's just an example of how I would be able like to find new creatives that should join Black with No Cream, right? Like I'll post like, especially in this last year, it's all work with Beyonce or whatever. So it's like a lot of Beehive fans and Jay fans and shit, but like the creators are there. And so like I posted this one shot that I got of the dancers. It was just like this ill ass shot. The bone breakers, these dudes are like double jointed in their shoulders. They can do the most wildest like dance moves and look like really crazy. But a fan sent me a video of me filming it. And so I posted the before and after just because I thought it was dope. But in my caption, I was like, yo, if you're a creator and you want to like become great or some shit, whatever it was, I was like, just shoot me a message. And my whole goal was, or if you want my 2 cents or something, I can't remember what it was. It was just me to offer advice. And then I just drafted up like a quick response that was like, yo, to be honest, like the best advice I could give you is hours of advice on my podcast and a private community that you can thrive in. Right. Like that's
yes.
Right. So it was as simple as like making that auto response. And then they hit me and I had it as like a shortcut key, which all I had to do was like hit L or something and L would pop it up. And I had like hundreds and hundreds of messages that I was just a bop, 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 bop. And no one spends time doing this shit. Like a majority of my friends that are in the creative industry that are killing it are not talking to their fans that are obsessed with them, that want to be like them and all this shit. They're not talking to them. I talk to every single person. Like the dude that executive produces all the Black and No Cream shit, like he's with me every day. He's like, you're fucking crazy for talking to these people like that much. Like you really respond to every single message. Like I wish Instagram would tell you how many messages are in my DMs, because it's got to be like over 50,000. And I literally would talk to every single person in depth. Like,
it's not overwhelming though. Like, do you think you'll ever stop?
Well, now it's getting. I'm not even big on Instagram. Like 60,000 is cool as fuck to me.
You have influence, though. I think that's the biggest thing. Like people think that follower counts really matter. It doesn't matter if you don't really have any type of influence, right?
Exactly. No, 100%. And that's the thing. It's so niche, and they all pay attention. So like I don't know. It's kind of like known that I'm available to speak to. It's always funny when I respond to someone on Instagram, like, oh my God, you responded. Like, well,
or when people repost that you responded and you're like, wait, you like, you know, it creeps me out sometimes, but it's also kind of cool.
I'm like, all right, that's crazy. But that's the stuff where I realize I'm like, okay, this is cool. And this is picking up steam. And if I do respond to all these people, eventually it's like now, like, especially on tour, like, the viewership is so high and they're like so reactive, and all of a sudden I'll post something, and before I try to comment on every response in like my feed post, but then all of a sudden you have like 600-700 responses. I'm like, fuck, I can't. I actually get Instagram stops me when I try to heart them all, like just to show these people I saw their comment, and it'll stop me like after like 200. It's like, okay, this must be a spam thing that you're doing. I'm like, nah.
Where do you think there's room to innovate in this industry? Like, where do you think creatives who are trying to get in can really innovate, but at the same time make money?
I think it's providing value for others, right? Mm-hmm. Especially in this game where everyone wants to be their own creative. Like, if you could start a YouTube channel and just blow up for being you, do it. If you can become a Casey Neistat or whoever you want to call it, go do that. That's sick. But even Casey, if you know him, worked for other people. His whole story is that he developed a TV series and produced, directed, and it was about him. He starred in it for HBO, and he worked for the man, and he hated it. And that's what pushed him to start his own YouTube channel, to have his own platform so he can make his own movies without a million producers giving their 2 cents and having them do edits and all this bullshit and having it taken so long to come out. But that's you have to really work hard to get there. And I think that if you're in the business of creating for artists, creating for brands, you really have to find ways to provide value to them and be on your toes to switch it up. I've always just been really good at seeing what's next and trying to include it in what we do. For example, Chris Brown, when we were doing his music video series for the Royalty album, we did 8 music videos for that album. 8, which is a shit ton. And we had, like, the first 2 was when I first started working there, so I wasn't that involved, but I did behind the scenes of that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then the last 6, I was very involved. I was shooting behind the scenes. I was doing, like, I ended up co-editing a lot of that shit with him and Andrew. Like, I was very hands-on. And I remember hearing Chris talk about how he wanted to do, just because he was brainstorming about the next video shoot that we were going to do. He's like, I want to have this, it's like a rig called the Snorri Cam. So the Snorri Cam is like a vest that you wear. You've seen the look before, but it's a vest you wear that has like a rod that comes out of like your stomach, but it comes up and you can put a camera there. So it's shooting you in first person view. So when you move to the right, it moves to the right. And it's kind of like, they use it in a lot of movies where people look drunk or something, where it's like you look trippy and it just like the camera's moving to your movements. It's kind of wild. And he's like, I want to have a Snorri Cam. I want to walk around my house. I want to look like I'm fucked up and like in some trance or something like that was his idea for this party scene. And when he said it, I had just seen this brand DJI that I use a lot of their gear. They just released this new camera called the DJI Osmo, which a lot of people now use these with their cell. Like you can put your cell phone on it. It's like the handheld gimbal. But it just it just was announced. It wasn't even available to buy. And I remember seeing that and be like, holy shit, this is going to change the game. This thing's so crazy, blah, blah, blah. And then I was sitting there in the edit bay and I'm like, what if I were to attach that camera rig, the gimbal, to this Snorri Cam thing, which traditionally has always just been a camera that's bolted to the bar.
So now you're an engineer? This is crazy.
Right? So then I'm thinking like, yeah, how can I construct it so that thing is now on Chris? But what was cool to me was like, it's a gimbal. Do you know anything about gimbals?
Gimbals are the ones like you hold them and like it's kind of like a stabilizer, right?
It's exactly, yeah. Gimbals are stabilizers. So like it had a camera on a gimbal. that could wirelessly be controlled by your phone. So I could like tilt and pan the camera. I could do a 360 with I could look all the way around, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, no one's ever put a gimbal on a Snorri cam. It's always just been a locked off, rugged look. It's like very like Private Ryan, rough, you know what I mean? Like rough. Like what happens if you stabilize that? And now all of a sudden there's this weird wobbly motion. So when Chris moves, it's still moving to his body, but it almost looks like a drone, but it's still moving exactly how he moves. It doesn't make sense. And then I'm like, if he's talking about walking through this party, well, how dope would it be if while he is walking through the party, it could start on his face and do a full 360 to see everyone around him, but you don't see a cameraman, and it goes right back to Chris and it's still moving to his exact movements. I'm like, what if we could do that? And there's like a time and place. I know people, you know, you're like, this is the company's artist that they're working with, and maybe I shouldn't pitch things or whatever, but I was like, I know he'd probably like that. And I had just hit up DJI one day before and got a response from them. And I was like, hey, I'm doing all this BTS. I would love to use it on the set, blah, 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 blah. Could I get it? And they responded, and they were like, oh, that sounds cool. Like, we would like to get you a test model. Like, maybe we could do it. They literally sent me that 2 hours before I heard Chris say this, came up with the idea. Everyone broke for lunch. Chris is just sitting there on his phone in the edit bay with me. I'm just sitting there, I'm like, yo, you know how you want to do that thing? What if we did this? And I was like, explaining to him, it's this new piece of technology. No one's ever done this. It could look really cool. And Chris is like, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what Chris Brown videos are always like. It's innovative. Like, I want that shit. Like, we got to get that. I'm like, oh shit. And then I did it. I got the thing. I worked with the art department. We built a rig. Chris wore like this fucking...
Which song was this?
Picture Me Rolling. If you look it up, it's like there's like little cutaways where he's walking through. There's one cutaway that's like classic, and it's Chris, and it's like him with the boys, and he's sitting there kind of like looking like crazy, like, whoa, shit. And then you whip around, and it's a 180, and you see a girl twerking on him, and then it comes back, and it's on his face, and it looks like he's just getting like bumped back by this girl's butt. And it's like the illest shot because it's just like whoop, whoop. And you're like, how the fuck did they do that? But he loved it. And then that built a big relationship for me and Chris. Chris then looked at me like an artist, you know what I mean? Like, I was working for a company, so to him, it's like I'm paying a company to do the job. Like, it's going to get done no matter what. And I was always like, man, if Chris could just see me for my art, like, we could really become friends, I think. Like, he could really relate to me. Like, he would respect me no different than he respects, like, an artist that's going to go paint on a wall. And I'm like, that means more to me than anything. Like, I would rather him know me for my shit versus just knowing that something got done and that's just cool, but it's not artistic to him for some reason, you know?
Oh, I love that you said that, because that's something that I often, like, I'm kind of struggling with when it comes to, so I also write, but you know, like, I love producing my podcast, and I love that it's attached to, kind of like how you have Black with No Cream, like how it's attached to something that you're building. But I know that there is a benefit to, let's say, writing for another platform or working for another platform. But what always gets me is like the credit part, right? Like when people share it and they credit the platform, but I'm like, but wait, do you know there was a writer who actually wrote those words? Like, how do you deal with juggling the opportunity or getting the credit for it? Like, what, like, does it matter to you, or like, how do you deal with
it? That's our livelihood. Like, you know, if people see that this person did this, then they're probably going to get booked for it by someone else that wants that exact same thing. You know, like, that's how you get paid. And I think like I've learned how to negotiate that now, but at the time I didn't really understand it. So it was like, oh, it's cool when this happens, but you know, the one company gets tagged for it, and that's cool because the company is the one that supplied the job, and that's it. Unless you come in and say, contractually, if I do this job, I need to be credited for XYZ, then they're not obligated to do that shit. Like, it's their company. Like, they're going to promote their company however they want to. Like, I think the respectable thing to do, and I see a lot of my friends that are creators are sharing, oh, hey, just check out this new music video. And then there's just this mad list of credits. And it's just as many people that you can credit and tag. Some people don't have Instagram, but you see a whole crew tagged in the description. It's cool because it's like you really gave them the shout out that they deserve or whatever. That's dope. And I think that goes a long way for a lot of people that work their ass off. But to me, it was like, you know, I understood that it's the company that's doing this product. But to me, it was like, well, I'm just third party, but I'm doing a lot that makes this vision come to life. And I'm like, I want Chris to know that shit. So when all of a sudden I can finally relate with him as an artist to artist, it just changed shit. Then he became like the homie. You know what I mean? Like, I still know Chris. Like it's crazy. Like, that shit goes that far, where it's just like he respected what I did for that piece of content and was able to pull it off. I mean, I legit this technology wasn't even there yet. Like, it wasn't that fire. If you see the video and you see Chris walking around through this house party at his house, Kylie Jenner is there, everyone, all these people were there. And he's walking through the house all fucked up. We had one take to do this. This was the last take of a whole shoot day. So it's like 15-hour day or something like that. This is the final shoot, 4 a.m, something like that. Everyone's tired. Everyone's cranky. Chris just wants to get his video done. But he really wanted the shot. So he's like, all right, we're going to do this camera thing. He's like, everyone get out of the house that's not in the party scene. He kicks out the entire production. Wow. Everyone gets put out of the house. So it's just me, Chris, and this entire house of...
I had 37 million views. I'm trying to watch it on YouTube now. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's like, so the only way it works for me to control the camera is if I'm within like 3 feet of the camera, which doesn't work because the whole idea is that the camera should be able to move around and do 360s. Mm-hmm. So what I literally had to do was I was crouched down, like army crawling, basically, like a fucking chick. What are those things called? Like a little fucking duck. Or whatever, you know what I'm talking about, like a little chicken or some shit, like walking really funny. But I was literally crouched down on my knees, controlling this camera with my cell phone, literally like at Chris's hip, like I'm glued to his hip, walking. So when he'd turn, I'd have to turn. When we're walking through, I'm like pushing people out of the way, but I'm like controlling this camera. And I had one take at it, and I was like nervous as shit. Like, fuck, I hope this doesn't disconnect. I hope this works. I hope I get everything. I'm hoping it happens, because I'm like, if not, he's gonna be pissed because he's gonna have to do it again. It's gonna take time. It's like, it's such a pain in the ass. And it worked. I killed it, and he fucking tripped, and then that just built a relationship, and that'll go so far. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, if I truly do need something from him, it's like it's there, you know. But it takes a while to develop those things, and I think it's super crucial to be able to develop those things. But a lot of times, you have to, if you have the opportunity to build that relationship with the client, for them to truly respect your vision, allow you to do what you want to do creatively, that's a win. It takes a lot to get there. Like, you have to, like, I still am working underneath a brand. Like, I work for a brand, like I work for Disney, and I just edited a Disney World commercial, and I'm like, this is crazy. And they had me come in for me. And even though they had me come in for me and the people loved it, the people at the top were like, oh, this is great, but this section right here, I feel like we need to do this. And they'll suggest some corny ass, like, you know what I mean? Like some corny ass.
But you have to do it because it's like,
yeah. I've learned to like just accept it and try to go 50-50. Like, if it goes 100 and 0 and I'm the one on the 0 side, then it's worth fighting for your creative vision. You know what I mean? But if you can do 50-50 and like everyone's happy, you know what I mean? Like, you meet a happy medium, that's a win. Like, it's not always going to be up to you, like what the final product looks like. You just have to be willing to do it. So I'd say give everything that you can, but also be not totally selfish when it comes to creating content, because you got to work as a team. For sure. Like, almost all the time, unless you're a concert photographer, if you're a photographer that you do you and your look is you, like, you got to work with the team. You got to bend to the team, you know?
So we have to talk about this, because I know all my Beehive fans will probably get mad at me for not asking you about the Beyoncé experience. But how did that come about? Yeah, like, first, how did that come about? And then I have a really specific question I want to ask you about. So
a friend of mine, she suggested, so she works for Free and Joy, which is a production company out here in LA. I think they've worked with Parkwood, which is Beyonce's company. They've worked with them several times. So I guess they were just kind of looking for someone like me, essentially, like shooter, editor, creative, whatever, can come up with, create content on the fly, whatever, document and do stuff like that. And this dude, Nate, suggested me, and Nate didn't know me, but Tara, his assistant, she did. So she suggested me, showed him some of my Schoolboy Q videos. Okay. See how the one turns into multiple jobs. So she shows him a Schoolboy Q video, and I guess they sent it off, and somehow they liked it and had me come in. And then it was kind of like a trial thing, like just see if we vibe with the team and create content. And this was during Coachella rehearsal. So I just started doing what I do, capturing and trying to like make moments and things like that. And they ended up liking me. And I guess, long story short, because it was a long time frame, it was basically like I was documenting the road to Coachella, which obviously now you can see on Netflix.
Congrats. That's so
thank
dope.
Thank you very much. It was not just me though. There was a great video team. Like, there was multiple, like there's a lot of
just giving you your congrats.
Thank you. Appreciate it. But while doing that, she ended up seeing this shot that I got. I was like filling in for the Steadicam person or whatever. And because they book the crew. There's like, we swapped out our camera guys with their camera guys, or Coachella's camera guys. So our guys came in fresh and like understood the show and knew how to shoot it. And so I was filling in for the Steadicam guy, and she saw one of the shots that I got and just tripped. She like thought it was super cool and was like,
she told you directly, like, this is dope.
Yeah, it was like in a meeting, and I was like, oh shit. And then, yeah, she like watched, like, it was just crazy. It was just like a crazy experience. But long story short, I ended up becoming the Steadicam guy instead. Like, they had me with a different type of gear. So this is me being innovative and being so obsessed with gimbals and things like that. I'm using a new gimbal that I was able to like captivate the show in a unique way. And then all of a sudden I'm swapping it out. All right, so can we still use this gimbal if we switch it out with this camera? I'm like, damn, that camera is really heavy. They're like, and we want to use a cinema lens. Like, can we use this? And all of a sudden I got this like 25-pound rig. And then it's like, we add these extra batteries here. Can we do this still? Is this still possible? You know what I mean? Like, it just became heavier and heavier, but I just kept pushing it. Like, I really wanted to make it work. And I was able to find a way to shoot this shit differently with this insane wireless rig, where I became like I'm the beginning of the show. That Coachella, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Coachella, blah, 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 whatever the first speech is. And all of a sudden you see the drummer and it starts off with her whistling and then the dancers moving shit. That's me shooting that. And it's choreographed and it was like so hardcore, and we were able to pull it off. And all of a sudden I'm like I was like a fly on the wall to like her main, I'm going to walk B from the B stage to the A stage. And like, I'm transitioning them back and forth. I'm getting all these shots that are created from the side and things like that. Like, it became such a crucial camera role. It was so wild. Yeah. Then they ended up liking me, and, or whatever. I just put in hard work for, however long we worked. And then, they invited me on the tour, which was nuts.
Was there ever some constructive criticism that you got on tour with Beyoncé that you had to kind of like, it took you aback, but you learned from it?
I think that we pushed there with tour. Mm-hmm. What was cool was that we created these moments that were shareable, right? Like, so on Beyonce.com, if you went after a show, you would see all the photos that the photographers took, which were amazing. And then there would be a mix of our like quote unquote gifts, right? So we started calling them gifts. I guess they were gifts. We'd make these little micro moments, selects from the show that were just like so empowering, right? Whether it was like slow motion and like there's just motion on behind, be on the stage, you see the crowd, you see the fire, whatever it was. They'd never done that before. And this is like the same thing with Coachella. It was like I was doing this rig that was just so complex and easy. I could go anywhere. I could be up in the pyramid with the band and the dancers, and all of a sudden I'm down there on the runway with Beyonce. I'm leading her backwards. I'm running backwards, like blind. Like, shout out to my boy Dave. Dave's the dude I was talking about earlier with my Black Window Cream shit. He was like, I don't know what the actual name of the role was, but he like, we hooked up like a carabiner to my belt, and he would grab the carabiner and lead me backwards. So, because before it started off and I was just running backwards and shit, and I was just shooting blind and just kind of had to keep looking over my shoulder to know where the end was of the runway. And so then we're like, that's probably not that safe. So let's have Dave start doing it. And Dave would run and guide me backwards. And when we knew we had to turn around to go to the center of the B stage, he would like give me a tap on my right side. Like 3 taps meant I can't remember what it was. I think 3 taps meant we're 5 feet away. And then a bunch of taps really quick meant like start turning.
Wow.
And like, we built this whole system, but like that was new, right? Like we pushed the limit, and it was like they liked it, and it was cool, and that was what got me the invite for tour. And then to go on tour, and it was like trying to kind of find a place where like creating and shooting stuff. And we made that first night. We heard that their website could utilize GIFs. Like, hey, photographers, can you get some like burst shots that we can turn into GIFs? That'd be cool. We can put them on the site. It'll play those. Me and Dave heard that. We're like, oh wait, what? So we like whipped up some GIFs, quote unquote, as examples of like what we can make from video. I'm like, well, we can export these with that same file type and upload it to the site, and it could be really cool. And we made like 30, posted it, and B loved them. Then they're like, yo, make those again. And then all of a sudden we're making these like insane moments. And so I think it was new, and they liked it, and it worked. Like, there was never, I hate to say it in a weird way where it's like I sound like a dick or something, like I'm cocky or some shit, but it was just push the limit in a great way where everyone was excited about what we were doing. And it wasn't ever like hey, you guys need to be doing this more or whatever. Like, there was never anything like that. It was never anything constructive. It wasn't like, you learn how to shoot a person. You just learn what they like, what they don't like, and you start getting really good at that. But I think the hardest part was just, not the hardest part, but like the biggest challenge was pushing ourselves to constantly innovate, because there's only so many ways you can shoot a show, no matter how big it is. Even though we were in fucking Olympic stadiums and shit. Like, so you have to find ways to shoot the show different. Like, how can I already did this. All right, cool. Could I do this? Could this be cooler if I did it this way? And like, you want to be pushing yourself to change it up. So I think the fuel was me. Like, I always wanted to push myself to go harder. And there's days where you're just whooped. Like, you just shot for a show and then flew to wherever, and then you get to the hotel and you're tired, but you still need to edit again, and you're editing, and then you're
were you shooting and editing?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, we'd have to make those moments, and then on top of it, we'd make like other stuff and like test ideas and make like little things, and like some stuff comes out, some doesn't come out. And towards the end of the tour, a lot of them, all of a sudden we're doing like recaps. So then I'd be editing recap videos. And
how did you keep balance? Like, it just seems like this lifestyle can get pretty overwhelming. Like, how do you make sure that you're taking care of you?
I don't really know the answer. I think this goes back to me having drive, right? Like, from Iowa, it's like, I always want to push myself, and I'm willing to do it. Anytime I'm in a music video or something, it's like, all of a sudden, a 16-hour day, that's a long time, right? Like, if you're on a 16-hour day music video and you have to do 2 or 3 of those in a row, there's like something crazy that takes over where you just want to create it. Like, this is your chance to pull it off. So like, oh man, I need to clock out after 8 hours or whatever. Like, I want to go home and I need to eat and go to sleep. It's like, no, that doesn't even become a thing. It's like, it's not reality. Like, when you're working on tour or you're on a music video or doing whatever, working with a client, it's like, life isn't real anymore. Like, it's that job and whatever it takes to get that job done. All of a sudden you're doing 16 hours and you're just like, oh shit, that was crazy. And you're still awake. You're still wide awake. You gotta go home and sleep for like 3-4 hours and then come back and do it again, or whatever. Like, so on tour, it's like, I would just try. Luckily we had a fire ass. Sometimes catering was fire, but we had a fire ass juice bar. And I never really drank juice before, but it became so regular. Like, I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to do a juice, whenever we first get to the venue, and then try to do a juice again before dinner, and just try to get any vegetables in me and like eat whatever we can eat chicken wise and stuff like that. And like, Dave like got me hyped about working out again, and any chance we weren't great at it on tour. It was like really hard to even get into the gym because you're so whooped from everything else. But like, I would try to get in the gym, and like, if we could, we would, and try to like stay fit. And even though we were like running around stadiums every night, like that shit was intense. Like, I don't know. I was like, just try to find a health balance and walk away or do something for you. Or like, we would go out and like, we'd be like, all right, cool. We're in Barcelona. Like, let's go to the beach.
And the team just seems so dope. Like, between the dancers and everybody behind the scenes, like the crew seems so dope.
Yeah, that was what was cool, is that like, they liked us because we got cool content. I mean, they liked us because we're cool people, but they liked us because we were getting fire content of them. So that was the easy way to like build the relationship, was like, oh, hey guys, you guys like this? And they'd be like, oh my God, this is fucking insane. Like, blah, blah, blah. So then all of a sudden you start a group chat just to feed them content and be like, hey, here's some new stuff. I got you guys tonight, whatever. Cool. Then it's like, hey, yo, we're going to be at this party. Like, they booked us a table and got us bottles. You want to come to that? Of course. And then all of a sudden we're just like, we're the homies with everyone. And like, that shit was so fun, because then you got to experience so much shit that I would never get to experience if I went there by myself as a tourist. You know what I mean? Like, you just don't. So, and so many of these people on tour have toured the world over and over and over again, that they know places, they have friends in these places. It just opens up this whole new world. So like, that shit, like, it was funny because like, that would be our way to reset our brain, would be to like go experience something in a new place, or go out, or go do whatever, go to like some rager club thing and just be in a weird place in Germany or whatever, like all these random things. But we'd still be out till like 4 a.m. and then you come back and you sleep for like 3 hours, and you get up and you have to go to the venue and hop on the bus and then go edit, and like, you'd still be tired. So it was like dumb, because it wasn't like we were taking the time to like sleep that night, like the day off night. We just used it to get experiences. But that was like fire, because it was like, at least we get to see the world and get to experience the world. Like, the last time I went on tour with Q, we were in all these same places I went with B&J, but I didn't really get to experience any of it because we played a show every single night. B&J's thing was like every 3 nights. You know what I mean? The stage is huge. They gotta build that shit. Like, so we'd have days off, and Q's tour was like, we're here, boom, play a show, hop on the bus, 16-hour drive, boom, we're at the next place, get out, shower, get in the venue, keep editing from what you were doing the night before, shoot the show, do it all over again, repeat. Like, I didn't get to see anything like at all. I saw Switzerland. That was like the one place I was excited to see. And I saw like the mountain view and flew my drone for like 20 minutes and then had to go back to the venue,
This podcast is called Dreams and Drive, and I, interview creators about what like really fuels their mission, and thinking about what you're creating with Black with No Cream, Ben. What keeps you going? Like, what's the vision, or what are you trying to build with Black with No Cream?
I think my main goal right now, it's an educational platform. Like, it's a place to come. It's actually like a I don't know the word that you would use for it, but it's like, it's got a multi-option. Like, you can come here to potentially get job opportunities. You can come here to potentially learn anything you'd ever want, or you can come here for resources. You come here for friendship. You can build community. That house is so important to build and keep the walls up, right?
Yep.
It's my baby right now. It's like, I want to have a place where I love it. I love hopping on and seeing like a creator post, hey guys, I'm new to video and I'm new to this like group, or I've been in this group for 6 months. I've never posted anything, but I wanted to share this. I'm mad nervous because it's not like anything like your guys' work, and you watch it and it's like a quick little interview that they did with someone, and they were so scared to share an interview that they did. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to light things yet, and don't judge me too hard, but I'd love for your input. And people be like, hey man, this is awesome. Good first attempt. Like, next time, what if you could try moving the light over here and that could light this thing different, and people start suggesting shit. I'm like, dude, the fact that I had nothing to do with this conversation and this person is getting instant feedback and creative criticism is amazing. Like, I would have fucking killed to be in a spot that had, I don't want to say like people like me, but like if I was in a enclosed group of people and had the option to ask or talk to or show my work to Beyonce's videographer, whatever you want to call it, whatever I do 5 years ago, like I would have paid so much money to be in that. Like, you know
what
I mean?
This
Like,
is free, or like the Facebook group is free.
It's free. Right? It's free. The only thing that we do that costs money is sell merch, and we have a fucking Patreon page where you can like support the page existence and hopefully allow us, like, we want to start doing way more stuff on YouTube. So it's been like, all right, cool. How can we keep the Patreon or the podcast running and then find a way to make money? Because we gotta, like, it's not just me that's doing this. I have 2 interns. I have one in Canada, one in Chicago. Dave was my intern before. And that's the dude who ended up going on the tour with me. And now is like my right hand and everything. There's a lot of people and pieces, that keep the puzzle put together, or whatever the phrase should be. I don't know. I'm just coming up with it.
I know. I feel like monetizing, though, that is like having the different revenue streams, but at the same time being true to your vision. Because I always tell myself, like, I don't think I'm like the ebook and, pay $1,000 for this course type of creator, right? Like, and it's hard because you see other people doing that route online and they're successful at it. But in my heart, I'm just like, I don't know if that's my path. So it's also being able to be true to your mission, right? And be true to how you want to develop the company.
Mm-hmm. And I think I agree with you. And I've always said, like, I want this Facebook community thing to just be free forever. I'm like, I was also, even though I say I would pay any amount of money, I also was in the point where I was like, I probably wouldn't have, because I couldn't afford it, right? Like, I couldn't afford, most of us as creators are broke. You come out here and try to live your life in LA, you're going to be broke as fuck, like I was for years. And it takes a long time. Like, I know people that moved out here the same time I did, or even earlier than I did, that are still struggling to fucking find something that can connect them. And they're just working a shitty job, trying to figure it out and trying to be them. And that's not easy. So I didn't want to build a place where there's a fucking Trump wall up and no one could get in and experience the glory, which is like everything that the community provides. I wanted that to be free. Now, as we grow it, and I understand what it's going to take it to another level of output, like, my goal is just to output as much creative influence as possible and give as many tips and suggestions and resources and ideas and, provoke movement for future creators. So it's like, all right, cool. There are things that you can sell that's totally respectable to sell. And then the whole purpose of that is so that it stays alive. Like, I could stop this tomorrow. Like, I don't need to, how much money I've invested in I have this whole podcast studio that I spend money on top of my rent in LA. My rent in LA is dumb expensive. So on top of it, to pay for an office, plus everything else that comes with it, insurance and all that shit, just because I want to see this thing succeed. And my Patreon page is just like a couple people chipping in some money every month to help, like, support the thing. And they don't really even get anything back. We are revising that, which is going to be, we're changing up our whole Patreon page. So there will be some exclusivity of things that they can get, like, perk wise. But right now it's just like people are paying like half the rent for the office, which is amazing. If I can get that covered, that's dope. Cause then I don't have to go in the hole for that. And I don't have to work as many jobs to like offset this and then be exhausted and mentally drained. Like that's the hardest part. So I'm trying to build this as a business so that it can be a powerful educational space that can supply as many resources as possible to creators of all kinds. And the beauty of it, in my opinion, this is what I say, and this goes piggybacks off of what you just said, is there's a lot of people that I see offering courses. The thing that makes me sick is seeing people who have no experience, who have built some minor following, right? Like just a little following. And they start selling them on courses and say, this is going to teach you how to be a filmmaker. But I'm like, dog, you've never made a film. You've only made a couple YouTube videos. You've only ever done a BTS video. You've only ever so how are you saying this is a filmmaker's, like, what are you talking about? Why, who are you charging money to? Like, why are they paying you money for this? And you're sitting here it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, the thing that I love about Black with No Cream and the power of it is the way we can start creating content that provides valuable course, quote unquote, type content, like real deep dives into shit that would take like months of prep to like, if you did like a 6-hour course on one-on-one entry to like videography or photography or touring or how to light a set or what, anything like whatever you want to call those courses. The beauty of it is that I don't know how to do that shit. I don't know everything. I don't know every angle. I don't know every lane in creativity, but I do know a lot of people that are experts in that shit. They're the most talented. They're the highest ranked. They're the ones that are killing it in the industry. These are the people I talk to on the podcast every day. There's people behind the scenes that I haven't had a chance to interview that are crushing it. The beauty of my shit versus everyone else's shit, and that to me makes Black with No Cream the number one in the world, is that I have access to the top tier creators. I've built these relationships and I'm milking them to try to provide whatever milk they can give back to the community in the highest form. So if I do want to go and say, all right, guys, I'm going to spend this next month preparing something that really deep dives into being a tour photographer, everything, all the do's and don'ts, the ways to prepare, the ways to connect, all these things, chapters of shit. I don't have to be the only one. I don't just tour as a tour. I didn't even do photography on B's tour. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I know several tours that shoot for every major artist and every major brand that I could sit there and talk to them and say, yo, can you talk on this piece about photography for blah, 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 blah. And I can do all this deep research. It's not me. Black with No Cream is not me. That's my favorite part about it, is that it's bigger than me. And I don't ever want to sit there and be like, I know it all. You guys come by my course on how to be Ben. Fucking, you know what I mean? Like how to do everything in the world. Like, let's do everything. I'm going to teach you about marketing. I don't know. Let's talk about business. I don't know it all. I know what I've done, but that's not enough. That's not what you should be learning, is how to do it like me. I did it all wrong.
You can connect people, and that's what's like the real plug, right? That's
why books are dope. Like, and going back to Lewis Howes, my homie Lewis, who we just directed his documentary. Like his books, when I was reading his books, I'm like, this is genius. Because what he did was he spent a shit ton of time and energy and resources to develop a book where he compiled fire-ass conversations that he's had on his podcast or in real life or off the record, whatever it may be. But he compiled it in a constructive way that provides value to the listener in a very meaningful way that makes sense and is totally worth the dollar price that you threw on that book, if not more. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's respectable, because it's not just him saying, this is how you should do life. It's like, this is how I think I'm going to do my life based on these things I've heard from other people, which I love, and mm-hmm. I don't know. Sorry, I ran a lot.
No, it's okay. So here, last question. All right. Who's in your passenger seat? Like, who is somebody who's been really pivotal in just being a support, or just like, maybe it's a person, maybe it's a thing, maybe it's a concept, like, what's really been helping you drive this dream of yours?
I mean, hands down, my girl, Lauren, she didn't want any of this shit. She didn't want LA. She's from a smaller town than me, if you can believe it. But her town has one stoplight. Dyke, Iowa. It's the smallest town ever. But she didn't plan on moving to LA. She didn't plan on any of this, but she's been supporting me from the jump. And she's definitely been right there with me and pushes me and makes me think different. And then I also have to figure out how to balance real life and not just be a fucking obsessed person with creating every day. I have to live a life. So she did that. I think if I had the, what's that show called with Fez and that 70s show, if I had that car, I would say my initial, my group of friends from the jump, it ranges, and it's crazy because I just have this dumb Rolodex of like best friends. Like, it's hilarious when I think about it, because like we always talk about, like, if we get married, like, oh, we got to have all these groomsmen and shit. I'm like, fuck. Like, I was like, I don't want anyone up there because I'm not picking. I'm not making people feel weird.
Just make it go simple. I feel like it just goes simple.
Right. But like, it's crazy to think of how many best friends I have. And I might just be with that person for these 2 years. And I haven't talked to my other best friends, but as soon as I talk to these people, we pick up from where we leave off. Nothing ever changes. I've built relationships like that since I was a kid. So it's like all these things I think elevate me and push me, and these people push me and help me, like, I don't know, take it to the next level all the time. So that's definitely who's in the whip of me.
So where can our dream drivers find you online, Ben, if they want to connect with you, if they want to join your community, if they want to see all your dope work?
All my personal shit is on Instagram, obviously. Just Ben Reelverse World. You can find that on Twitter too if you want to see me type thoughts. But Black with No Cream. So if you want to join the community, you can go to bwnc.com/join. It's like super, just a form that you have to fill out or whatever. It tells me about you. And then we add you into the group. But then we have the podcast. So if you just go YouTube, iTunes, whatever you listen to podcasts on, Black with No Cream podcast, it's there. I don't know, if you're a creator and you're listening to this and you want all of the keys, we got them. It's on the podcast. I talk to these people. There's so many hours. I mean, you did 200 episodes. That's fucking nuts. Like, I'm only at I think we're at 82. So we haven't even hit 100, but goddamn, that's a lot of work.
It is. So let's go to our lightning round real quick. So I'm just going to ask you a few quick questions. I want you to just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Okay. So, I'm going to be giving you the prompts, like a gear shift in a car. And I want you to just tell me the first words that come to mind. Okay. When you hear the word park.
Damn it, this is hard. And I know you gave me these two, and
it's okay. Like, just the first thing. Like, I love where people think of, like, people minds go anywhere. So first word, when you hear the word park, what you think of?
Get out.
All right. Reverse.
Look back.
Neutral.
Chilling.
Drive.
Fast.
All right. And if you want to be a dream driver, you have to have your keys to success. So, Ben, can you tell me 3 things that you think every dream driver needs in their car before they hit the road? 1, the mentality of being a good person and wanting to work hard for what you care about. Mm-hmm. Okay. 2, and this is literally like if you were going to get in a car and try to go chase your dream, try to build a foundation, a budget, and have the ability to do what you want to do as good as you can up to that point, right? If you know you're moving to the next level, what do you need to get to the next level? Bring those tools with you. And then 3, I would say always be a student. Like, don't ever feel, no matter what kind of success you gain, don't ever feel like you're too big to be a student. Like, be willing to always learn and be willing to always take it back to the drawing board if you can't figure out how to do things, because shit is always changing, at least in my industry. I'll always be a student to the shit, which is exciting. All right, and I have a bonus question for you. Just because you're a videographer, what camera are you taking to shoot your journey?
What camera am I taking?
If you only have one camera or one setup, what would you take? And we're in a car, so
right? Probably my iPhone.
Okay, and that's simple, right?
Yeah, I think people think too big. Like, they think they need to have some dumb big camera, and I'm with cameras. Like, they're all different tools, but a lot of us feel like we can't start until we get the right gear and shit, and that's not true because you have it in your pocket every day. So, I mean, I film so much shit on my phone, you don't even understand.
Thank you so much, Ben. This has been such a pleasure, and I'm just so excited for our listeners to just reflect on your story. And I know, we could have talked even more, so just thank you once again.
No, thank you for having me, Raina. This was dope. Dreams and Drive, this is tight.
All right, so that's a wrap for our episode with Ben. I hope you enjoyed hearing his dream driving journey as well as his keys to success. If you love this episode, you know what to do. Please share it with a friend, share it with your community. You can find us online. We are Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I love seeing when you guys are reposting where you're listening to the podcast to your Instagram stories, especially. It's a great way for people to check out new content. You can also post to Twitter, Facebook, wherever you are tuned in with other people. It can even be text message or an email. Send this to one person this week. That's my ask to you guys. I don't ask much, but please continue to share the podcast. As always, show notes are available at dreamsanddrive.com. Just click on episode 203 to get all the behind the scenes stuff that we have there for Ben's episode. And remember, guys, if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, wherever, please make sure that you are subscribed. Subscribe so that you get notifications every time we have a new episode. And if you're listening in exclusively on Apple Podcasts, please make sure you leave a review. Those reviews definitely help us get higher rankings. They help new people find us. Dream Drivers, I'm counting on you. Please leave a review. If you want to be on Dreams and Drive, if you think you'll be a dope guest for our fall episodes, please submit your pitch to dreamsanddrive.com/pitch. I do read them all. I don't always get to respond to everybody, but it is good to at least have your information there because you never know how your story might be a great fit for an upcoming episode. As always, keep dreaming, keep driving, and next week we are going to be speaking to Pinky Cole, who is the founder of the new vegan revolution, Slutty Vegan. Bye, guys.